Los Angeles, California, the city where dreams are made and broken. For 26-year-old Lila Carter, it was both. She had moved here from a small town in Ohio with stars in her eyes and a heart full of hope. 4 years ago, she met Ethan Reynolds, a charming, aspiring filmmaker with a smile that could melt steel. Their love story had been a whirlwind: romantic dates on Santa Monica Pier, late-night drives along the Pacific Coast Highway, and whispered promises under the Hollywood sign. But then, life threw a curveball. A year into their relationship, Lila was diagnosed with polycystic ovary syndrome PCOS, a hormonal disorder that caused rapid weight gain. The medication helped manage her symptoms, but her body changed in ways she couldn't control. At first, Ethan was supportive. "Your health is all that matters," he'd say, holding her close. Then, slowly, his words began to shift. "Maybe you should skip dessert. You'd look so much prettier if you lost a few pounds. I just want what's best for you." The final blow came one night after a friend engagement party. Lila had worn a dress she loved, a deep red flowing fabric that made her feel beautiful. But when they got home, Ethan sighed, looking her up and down. "Lila, I'm just not attracted to you like this anymore." The words hit like a slap. She stood there frozen as he continued, "I mean, you used to be so hot now. I don't know. Maybe if you tried harder." That night, Lila cried herself to sleep. But when the sun rose, something inside her snapped. She wasn't just going to lose weight, she was going to lose him. Lila didn't argue. She didn't cry in front of him again. Instead, she smiled. "You're right," she said, her voice steady. "I should take better care of myself." Ethan mistook her calm for surrender. He kissed her forehead, satisfied, as if he'd done her a favor. But inside, Lila was burning. The next morning, she woke up before dawn, pulled on her sneakers, and ran until her lungs screamed. She wasn't running for him. She was running from him, from the version of herself that believed his words. She changed everything. Meal prep instead of takeout. Water instead of wine. Therapy instead of tears. She didn't tell Ethan what she was doing. She just did it, and he noticed. "Babe, you're looking tighter," he said one night, his hand grazing her waist as she cooked. Lila didn't flinch. "Thanks," she said, flipping the salmon in the pan. But his compliments felt like poison, because now she saw the truth. Ethan didn't love her. He loved the idea of a girlfriend who fit his fantasy. Meanwhile, her best friend, Mia, a no-nonsense nurse from Brooklyn, watched it all unfold. "You're really gonna stay with this guy after what he said?" Mia asked one day at the gym, spotting Lila as she lifted weights. Lila exhaled, racking the barbell. "No, but I'm not leaving until it hurts him." Mia grinned. "Now that's the Lila I remember." Los Angeles had a way of revealing people's true colors under the relentless sun. Facades cracked, and Ethan's was starting to peel. As Lila's body transformed, so did Ethan's behavior. He became possessive. "You're dressing up more lately," he remarked one evening, eyeing her off, shoulder top and the new confidence in her stride. "Who are you trying to impress?" Lila sipped her sparkling water, unfazed. "Myself." Ethan didn't like that answer. He started showing up unannounced at her yoga studio, claiming he missed her. He'd hover at her work happy hours, laughing too loud with her colleagues, his arm draped around her like a warning sign to other men. But Lila wasn't the same woman who had wilted under his words a year ago. She had reinvented herself. Her Instagram, once a graveyard of selfies with Ethan, now showcased her progress, not just physical but mental. Quotes about self-worth, photos of her hiking Runyon Canyon, drenched in golden hour light, and the comments, flooded with support, including one from Daniel Hart, an old college friend who'd moved back to La. "Damn, Lila, you look happy." Ethan saw the notification before she did. "Who the hell is Daniel?" he snapped, shoving her phone in her face. Lila took the phone calmly. "A friend, remember those?" Ethan's jaw tightened. "You're different." "Yeah," Lila said, locking her screen. "I am." That night, she slept in the guest room, and for the first time in years, she didn't cry. She smiled. The air in their apartment had grown thick with tension, each conversation a carefully placed landmine. Ethan, sensing Lila slipping away, switched tactics. Love bombing. Breakfast in bed, apologies wrapped in roses. "I was an idiot, Lila. You're beautiful at any size." But Lila wasn't buying it. She remembered the way his nose had wrinkled when he called her unattractive. The way he'd looked at her like a problem to be fixed. So when Ethan suggested a weekend getaway to Napa Valley to reconnect, she agreed. Not for him. For the finale, the vineyard was picturesque, all rolling hills and golden sunlight. Ethan was on his best behavior, pouring her wine, which she discreetly swapped for water, and waxing poetic about their future. "Maybe we should get a place together," he said, squeezing her hand, "something with a view." Leela tilted her head. "Funny, you never wanted to move in before." "People change," he said smoothly. "Yeah," she said, watching a grapevine twist in the breeze. "They do." That night at dinner, Ethan's facade cracked. A guy at the next table, tall, with an easy smile, nodded at Leela when Ethan went to the restroom. "Your boyfriend's a lucky man." She laughed. "Ex-boyfriend, actually." The lie tasted like freedom. Ethan returned just in time to hear it. His face darkened. "What was that about?" Leela dabbed her mouth with a napkin. "Just making friends." The ride back to the hotel was silent, explosive. Back in their room, Ethan finally erupted. "Are you cheating on me?" Leela unclipped her earrings, calm. "No, but we're done." His anger melted into panic. "You're leaving me, after everything I've done for you." She looked him dead in the eye. "You didn't do anything, Ethan. You just watched me save myself." Asterisk. Then she walked out, the door clicking shut behind her. The drive back to Los Angeles was a blur of desert highways and static-filled radio stations. Leela didn't turn her phone back on until she crossed the city limits. 37 missed calls, 52 texts. Ethan's messages escalated between desperate and deranged. "You can't just leave like this. I'll change, I swear." Was there someone else? Was it Daniel? Lila blocked his number, but Ethan wasn't the type to fade away quietly. By Monday morning, he was camped outside her office, dressed in the same navy blue Henley she once loved, now just a uniform for manipulation. "We need to talk," he said, stepping in front of her. Leela tightened her grip on her coffee. "No, we don't." 4 years, Leela. "You're really throwing us away over one stupid fight." A fight, that's how he remembered it. Not the slow erosion of her self-worth, not the way he'd turned her body into a bargaining chip. "It was never a fight, Ethan," she said, stepping around him. "It was a test, and you failed." His hand shot out, gripping her wrist. "You owe me, let go." The command sliced through the morning air. A security guard glanced over. Ethan released her, but his voice dripped venom. "You'll regret this. You think you're some empowered queen now. Wait till you see how fast that glow up fades." Leela smiled. "Funny. I was just thinking the same thing about you." She walked away, shoulders straight, finally light, but back at her apartment, the reality hit. Ethan knew where she lived, where she worked, and men like him didn't let go. Leela changed her locks. She told her doorman not to let Ethan upstairs. She even filed a police report after he showed up at her gym, just to talk. But Los Angeles was Ethan's city too, and he knew how to haunt her digitally. First came the fake accounts. At Lila Carter Fantlow, 2 liked her Instagram posts within seconds of uploading. Ethan Reynolds Riel, a lie. His real handle was at Filmicera, commented under her gym selfie, "You didn't need to lose weight. I was just worried about your health." And then the emails. From aaronoldsproductions@gmail.com. Subject: "You're making a mistake. I saw you with Daniel at Earth Caf. He's not your type. You'll realize that soon." Leela's blood ran cold. She'd never told Ethan where she was meeting Daniel. Her phone buzzed. "Mia. Girl, check your tagged photos." There it was. A grainy shot of her and Daniel mid-laugh, uploaded to a gossip page called Relationships. The caption: "Does this empowered influencer have a secret rebound, or was she cheating all along?" The comments were worse. "She upgraded, LOL. Dude probably paid for her lipo." Lila's hands shook. Ethan had weaponized her transformation. But then Daniel called. "Leela, I just got a demo from some guy claiming to be your ex. He said you're playing games. You okay?" She took a breath. "Can we meet? I need to explain." Because Ethan wanted a war. Fine, she'd bring receipts. Lila arrived at the Ivy on Robertson with a black coffee and a burner phone tucked in her purse. Daniel was already there, his brow furrowed as he scrolled through his phone. When he saw her, he stood up, not with pity, but with quiet fury. "This guy's unhinged," he said, showing her his screen. Ethan had sent him a novel-length DM. "Ask Lila about the $3,000 I spent on her medical bills. She never paid back," or how she begged me to stay when I caught her texting her ex. Lila laughed, a sharp, brittle sound. "None of that happened." "I know," Daniel said simply, "but I want to hear your side." So she told him everything: the Pew's diagnosis, the backhanded compliments, the way Ethan had weaponized her vulnerability. Daniel listened, then slid his phone across the table. "Then you won't mind if I do this?" He typed a reply to Ethan, "Lila is sitting right here. Say it to her face, or are you only brave behind a screen?" Ethan read it. No reply, but Lila wasn't done. She opened her laptop and pulled up a folder labeled Backup. "I started recording our fights after the first wait comment," she said quietly. "Just audio. I thought maybe I was overreacting." She hit play. Ethan's voice slithered out, acting like some feminist warrior now. "Please, you were a nobody before me." Daniel's jaw clenched. "We're posting this." "No," Lila said. "I am." That night, her Instagram story went live for everyone asking why I left. The clip played, then a single slide. "Abuse isn't always a bruise. Sometimes it's the mirror they hold up until you forget your own face." So within an hour, Ethan's Instagram was gone. But at 2:17 a.m. her buzzer rang. "Lila, it's security. Someone just keyed your car." She looked out the window, scratched into her driver's side door. Liar. Lila didn't call the cops. She called Mia. Her friend arrived in 11 minutes flat, still in scrubs, gripping a tire iron like she was ready to commit a justified crime. "Show me the car." The vandalism was worse up close, jagged letters carved deep into the paint, glinting under the parking lot lights. Mia snapped photos. "This is a restraining order. Easy." "And then what?" Lila's breath fogged in the cold air. "He'll wait until it expires or find another way." Mia's eyes narrowed. "So we don't wait." The next morning, Layla walked into the LAPS domestic violence unit with a USB drive and a spiral notebook. The detective, a no-nonsense woman with silver streaks in her braids, scanned the evidence, audio recordings of Ethan's verbal abuse, screenshots of his fake accounts and threats, time-stamped photos of her vandalized car. "You've got enough for an EPO," the detective said, sliding over paperwork. "Emergency protective order keeps him 100 yards away for a week until your restraining order hearing." Leela signed with a steady hand. Ethan was served at his studio lot. His reaction, predictable. By noon, Leela's inbox exploded. From arinoldesproductions@gmail.com. Subject: "You did this. You're dead to me. Enjoy your little victory lap while you can. I'll be at the hearing. And I'll bring proof you're lying." Mia snorted when she read it. Proof of what? His own voice. But Lila stared at the email, a chill crawling up her spine. Ethan didn't bluff. He schemed that night. Her phone buzzed with an unknown number. Image received. The photo loaded slowly. A grainy shot of her 19-year-old self mid-kiss with a frat guy at a college party. Then a second text. "Remember him. Wait till the judge sees how many abusive exes you really have." Lila's stomach dropped. Ethan wasn't just fighting the restraining order, he was rewriting history. The night before the restraining order hearing, Lila sat on her bathroom floor, staring at the photo Ethan had sent. It wasn't just the invasion, it was the precision of his attack. That frat guy. They dated for 3 weeks freshman year. He'd ghosted her. Now Ethan was spinning it as proof. She falsely accused all her exes. Mia kicked open the door, holding 2 venti iced coffees and a manila folder. "We found his pattern." Inside, print-outs from Ethan's letterboxd account. "Look at his reviews," Mia said. "Every movie about false accusations gone girl. The girl on the train he rates 5 stars, comments calling women leers. This isn't just about you, he's been fantasizing about this scenario." Leela's fingers trembled as she scrolled. One review stood out. "If a woman ruins your life, ruin hers back. 9:02 a.m., Stanley Moss Courthouse." Ethan arrived in a tailored gray suit, flanked by his lawyer, a slick-haired man who kept smirking at Lila. The judge, a weary-eyed woman in her 60s, adjusted her glasses. "Mr. Reynolds, you're alleging Miss Carter's evidence is fabricated." Ethan's lawyer stepped forward. "Your Honor, my client has proof. Miss Carter has a history of objection." Lila's attorney, a razor-sharp Tina with a 98% win rate, didn't even stand relevance. The judge nodded. "Stick to the current allegations." Ethan's face darkened. His plan was crumbling until he pulled his final move. "Then let's play her evidence," he said smoothly. "All of it." The audio recording filled the courtroom, but now with added static. Key phrases were garbled, acting like some unintelligible warrior. "Now, please. You were unintelligible before me." Ethan spread his hands. "Your Honor, this could be anyone, and if she's willing to edit this." The judge hesitated. Lila's stomach dropped. He'd outmaneuvered her. "Then, Your Honor," Daniel's voice rang out from the gallery. He stood holding his phone. I have the original file, unedited, sent to me the night she posted it. Ethan whirled around. That's dated. The judge finished examining Daniel's screen. She turned to Ethan's lawyer. Care to explain? Silence. The gavel slammed. Restraining order granted 1 year. Outside, Ethan lunged at Lila. You bitch! This isn't over. A bailiff yanked him back. But as they dragged him away, he locked eyes with her and mouthed 2 words. Watch. Back. Lila's blood froze, because Ethan didn't lose. He escalated. Lila didn't sleep that night. She sat cross-legged on her living room floor, scrolling through every security camera angle, every saved message, every digital breadcrumb Ethan might have left. Watch back. What did that mean? At 3:15 a.m., her phone buzzed. Phone number? Check your drafts. Her stomach dropped. She logged into her Instagram and there it was. A post she never wrote, scheduled to go live at noon. I lied. Ethan never abused me. I made it all up for clout. Attached were doctored screenshots of fake texts, a manipulated voice memo, even a photoshopped email from her therapist. Ethan hadn't just hacked her. He'd built a trap. 8:02 a.m., Venice Beach Boardwalk. Lila met Mia and Daniel under the shadow of a lifeguard tower, the ocean roaring behind them. He's trying to gaslight the internet, Mia said, scrolling through the draft on Lila's phone. Classic Darvo, deny, attack, reverse victim and offender. Daniel cracked his knuckles, so we leak his drafts. 11:53 a.m. 7 minutes until Ethan's fake confession posted. Lila took a breath and went nuclear. She uploaded a 60-second video raw and unedited. If you're seeing a confession from me today, it's fake. Ethan Reynolds hacked my account, but since he loves receipts. Here's his search history from last night. The screen split. How to frame someone for perjury. Can you edit Instagram drafts remotely? Best revenge on an ex Reddit. Then, the knockout punch, a video of Ethan bragging to a buddy at a bar 2 weeks ago. Lila thinks she won. Nah. I'll make her famous for all the wrong reasons. The fallout was instant. Ethan's production company dropped him. His IMDb page vanished. Even his apartment building distanced themselves, issuing a statement about zero tolerance for harassment. But the real victory came at sunset as Lila stood on her balcony, watching the Pacific swallow the sun. Her phone chimed. Daniel, you okay? She smiled. Lila, better than okay. I'm free. And for the first time in years, she meant it. Epilogue. Ethan moved to Phoenix, where he allegedly sells used cars. Lila launched a wellness platform for women recovering from emotional abuse. That red dress he hated, she burned it. The end. Fen. My name is Emily Carter, and my little brother ruined my life. At least that's what I thought when I woke up with his naked body plastered all over the mailboxes in our shitty Ohio suburb. Jake had always been a little demon birding my homework, spilling drinks on me accidentally, but this was war. I lost my friends. I lost my crush. I lost my goddamn dignity. Then some fancy New York photographer saw the pictures and called them raw, real, revolutionary. Now I get paid $10,000 a shoot, and Jake, he's stuck in the same city, watching me turn his sick joke into my empire. But trust me, I'm not done with him yet. Rework the beginning. Make the story run from the girl's point of view instead of third person. I'll never forget that humid Ohio morning when everything changed. I was scrambling eggs when my 13-year-old brother Jake sauntered into the kitchen with that smirk I'd come to dread. You're trending, sis, he said, tossing his phone at me. The screen showed a photo of me changing clothes, my bare shoulders and back clearly visible, my face unmistakable. It was taken through my slightly open bedroom door. You posted this? My voice trembled. Just to my Snapchat, he shrugged. But people saved it, shared it. It's kind of everywhere now. I ran outside in my slippers. There it was, taped to Mr. Johnson's mailbox, pinned to the community board, even stuck to the window of the diner where I worked weekends. My stomach churned. This wasn't just embarrassment. This was the kind of violation that sticks. The kind people don't forget. By lunchtime, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Emily, is this real? My college roommate, call me when you see this. My mom, who is out of town. Then came the message from Daniel, the guy I'd been talking to for weeks. Just 3 words. This is crazy. Not are you okay? Not I'm sorry, just nothing. I collapsed onto my bed, tears burning my eyes. Jake had won. He'd finally broken me. Then came the notification that changed everything. A DM from Marcus. Cool photography. Verified professional. I recognize raw talent when I see it. The message read, "That photo has an authenticity most models spend years trying to capture. Would you consider a meeting?" I stared at the words, my tears drying. Maybe Jake hadn't broken me after all. Maybe he'd just given me my beginning. Marcus Cole's studio smelled like expensive coffee and leather. I sat clutching my purse, still not believing I'd actually come. "Here's the truth," Marcus said, sliding a contract across the table. "That photo went viral for all the wrong reasons, but the raw emotion in your expression, that's gold." He wanted to rebrand the narrative, turn my humiliation into high fashion art. 6-month contract, real pay. My hand shook reading the numbers. More than I made in a year at the diner. But, I hesitated. "Won't people just see what happened?" Marcus smiled. "We'll make them see what we want them to see." When I got home, Jake was waiting. "You're really doing this?" he asked, uncharacteristically quiet. I looked at my little brother, really looked at him, and saw something new in his eyes. Fear not of me, of what I might become. The studio lights burned hotter than I expected. "Arch your back slightly," Marcus directed, "not shame. Strength." I focused on my breathing, on transforming the memory of those stolen photos into something powerful. Between shots, my phone buzzed. Daniel again. "Hey, stranger. Saw you're working with Marcus Cole now." I deleted it without replying. During the lunch break, Marcus showed me the previews. The girl in those photos didn't look violated. She looked unstoppable. That night, Jake didn't come home for dinner. Mom said he was staying at a friend's. I wondered if he'd seen the teasers we posted. If he understood yet what he'd unleashed. The campaign went live at 9 a.m. on a Thursday. By noon, Pound Phoenix Millie was trending. Marcus called, voice buzzing with excitement. Vogue just reposted. They're calling it the rebirth of modern beauty standards. I kid. Refreshed my Instagram. 10K new followers. Messages from modeling agencies. Even an email from a women's empowerment magazine wanting an interview. At school, whispers followed me. But now they sounded different. Is that her? She looks amazing. Then I saw Jake between classes, surrounded by his friends. One elbowed him. "Dude, your sister's famous." His face flushed deep red. For once, he had nothing to say. Jake's text started at 2:37. They're calling me a creep at school. My basketball coach says I need moral guidance. This wasn't supposed to happen. I almost felt bad. Almost the next morning, Principal Evans called us both in. "We've had complaints about Jake's involvement in your modeling career," she said carefully. I sat up straight. "With all respect, ma'am, that's between me and my brother." Her eyebrows shot up. Jake stared at me like I'd grown a second head. Walking out, he mumbled, "Why'd you do that?" I kept walking, because my story isn't about punishment anymore. The email from Luxe Cosmetics arrived on a rainy Tuesday morning. Their creative director wanted me as the face of their new Real is Beautiful campaign. 6 figures. National billboards. My hands trembled holding my coffee mug as I read the details at breakfast. Jake sat unusually still, watching me over his cereal bowl. "You got that big deal, didn't you?" he asked quietly. Mom nearly dropped her orange juice. That afternoon, I found a folded note under my door in Jake's messy handwriting. "I never thought you'd actually, win at this. Sorry it started like that." I stared at those words for 10 straight minutes. Dad called a family meeting that Sunday, his voice using that tone that meant business. We sat around the kitchen table, the Luxe contract stacked between Mom's cookbooks. "Your mother and I," Dad began, rubbing his temples, "need to understand how we got here." Jake's chair squeaked as he fidgeted. "It was just a stupid joke that got out of hand. Mom interrupted, voice cracking. "You violated your sister's privacy." The room went silent. Then something unexpected happened. I spoke up and I took that violation and turned it into something good. I met Jake's startled gaze. "But we're still getting you into counseling." For the first time in years, my brother didn't argue. Jake's therapist, Ab Bennett, had a way of asking questions that made you answer honestly. I only know this because Jake left his journal open one day, and one entry caught my eye. "Ad dare be asked why I really did it." I said it was a joke. But maybe I just wanted her to finally see me. I closed the book gently, my anger shifting into something more complicated that night. I left 2 tickets to a Cavaliers game on his dresser, his favorite team. The Luxe Cosmetics shoot was going perfectly until Marcus pulled me aside during lunch. "There's something you should know," he he said, uncharacteristically nervous. My younger sister. Something similar happened to her. That's why I reached out. The confession hung between us. All this time, I thought he saw some special talent. But really, he saw a chance to rewrite someone else's story. I excused myself to the restroom, staring at my reflection. The girl who turned betrayal into beauty. Maybe that was enough. When I returned, I shook Marcus's hand. Thank you for seeing me when no one else did. The Luxe Cosmetics launch party was everything I dreamed of and nothing like I expected. Flashbulbs popped as I stood beside the massive billboard bearing my unretouched image with the slogan, "Your story isn't finished yet," across the crowded rooftop. I spotted Jake hovering near the dessert table in an ill-fitting suit Mom had forced him into. Our eyes met, and he gave me the smallest nod, the kind that said, "I see you," without words. Then Marcus took the microphone. "This campaign isn't about perfection," he said, voice cracking slightly. "It's about the beauty of becoming." Jake left the framed picture on my bed the morning I moved to New York. It was us, ages 7 and 3, splashing in our kiddie pool, back when we were allies, before life made us strangers, sharing a bathroom. On the back, he'd written, "For your new walls. P.S. I'm applying to photography school." I slipped it into my suitcase between two sweaters, the glass cool against my fingertips. At the airport security line, Mom sobbed while Dad took approximately 400 photos. Jack hung back until the last possible second before blurting out, "You know this all started because I thought you were the coolest, right?" The Tessa agent waved me forward before I could respond, but as I walked through the scanner, I realized some stories don't need perfect endings, just honest ones. 2 years later, Jake got my first gig shooting for Teen Vogue. Jake, they asked how I got into photography. Jake told them the truth. "Emily, send me the article." Little brother, "Emily, Piss still owe you that Cavs game." Attached, article titled "The Redemption Shot," featuring Jake's work and brief mention of family inspiration. The end. When 18-year-old Jake Morgan's life shatters after a DNA test reveals he's not his father's biological son, his entire family turns their backs on him, except for his broken, guilt-ridden mother. Left in their crumbling Ohio hometown, Jake battles betrayal, poverty, and the haunting question, who is his real father? But when his estranged family suddenly reappears years later, desperate to reconnect, old wounds tear open. Secrets explode, loyalties are tested, and Jake must decide, forgive or walk away forever. A raw, emotional roller coaster of family, lies, and redemption. The Morgan family's 4th of July barbecue was supposed to be burgers, fireworks, and his dad. Terrible dad jokes. Instead, it was the day Jake's life exploded. He'd noticed the tension, how his father, Richard, had been quieter than usual, how his mom, Linda, kept nervously refilling her wine glass. His older brother, Tyler, kept shooting him weird looks across the yard. But nothing prepared him for what came after dessert. "Family meeting," Richard said, voice tight. Now, in the living room, the air was thick enough to choke on. Then came the words that wrecked everything. "Your mother's been lying to us, to me, for years. A DNA test, affairs with..." The crushing revelation. Jake wasn't Richard's son. The fallout was instant. Tyler, his best friend, sneered, "Now it makes sense why you've always been the screw-up." His sister, Emily, burst into tears but didn't reach for him. And Richard. "I can't even look at you," he whispered. By midnight, his dad and siblings were gone, the house eerily silent except for Linda's muffled sobs. Jake stood, frozen in the driveway, his phone buzzing with a single text from Tyler, "Don't contact us again." Jake Morgan's life didn't just change after that night, it ended. The next morning, his father's lawyer called. The divorce papers were already filed. Richard wanted full custody of Emily and Tyler, not that Jake was included in that demand. The house, once full of laughter and stupid sibling arguments, now felt like a tomb. His mother, Linda, moved through the rooms like a ghost, her eyes red and swollen. Jake's phone blew up, not with support but with whispers. "Did you hear? Jake's not even a real Morgan." No wonder he never looked like his dad. His mom's a cheater, and he's the proof. Small-town Ohio had a way of turning personal tragedy into public entertainment. Then came the final blow. His best friend since kindergarten, Matt, stopped answering his texts. When Jake finally cornered him at school, Matt wouldn't meet his eyes. "Look, man, My parents don't want me around you right now. It's just weird, like Jake was some kind of disease. That night, Jake sat on the roof of his house, staring at the stars. He used to come up here with Tyler, back when they'd sneak out to talk about girls and dreams. Now he was alone, truly alone. Except for one person. Linda knocked softly before climbing out the window to join him. She didn't speak at first, just handed him a crumpled photo. It was an old picture of Jake as a baby, cradled in her arms, his father. No, not his father, smiling beside them. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. Jake wanted to scream, to ask why. But all he said was, "Who is my dad?" Linda's silence was louder than any answer. Jake wasn't just angry, he was obsessed. For weeks, he scoured his mother's past, digging through old shoeboxes of photos, hacking into her email. He wasn't proud of it, but desperation made morality flexible. Then, buried under a pile of unpaid bills, he found it. A faded concert ticket stub from Cleveland, 2004, the year before he was born. Linda never went to concerts. The name scribbled on the back confirmed it. A.M. Carter. A quick Facebook search led him to Marcus Carter, a former college football player turned real estate agent in Pittsburgh. The resemblance was undeniable. Same sharp jawline, same hazel eyes. Jake's stomach twisted. He confronted Linda that night. "Marcus Carter," he said, slamming the ticket stub on the kitchen table. "Is that him?" Linda's face went pale. She didn't deny it. He was a fling, a mistake. "I never thought," her voice broke. "Richard was supposed to be your father, in every way that mattered." Jake laughed bitterly. "Yeah, tell that to Dad." The next morning, he packed a bag. Pittsburgh was only 2 hours away. Pittsburgh smelled like rain and burnt coffee as Jake stood outside Marcus Carter's office building, his heart pounding like a judge's gavel. He'd rehearsed this moment 100 times in his head. "You ruined my life. Did you even know I existed?" But now, faced with the man who might be his father, his throat went dry. The receptionist eyed him warily. "Do you have an appointment with Mr. Carter?" Jake's fingers dug into his palms. "Tell him Jake Morgan is here." A pause, then thought sent him in. Marcus Carter wasn't what Jake expected. No cocky grin, no swagger. Just a tired-looking man in a wrinkled suit, staring at Jake like he'd seen a ghost. "I knew," Marcus said, before Jake could speak. "Your mother told me." Once the room tilted. "He knew, but you never." Jake's voice cracked. "You never came for me." Marcus exhaled sharply. Linda made it clear. "Richard was your dad in every way that mattered. I respected that." He leaned forward, eyes glistening. "But I watched your football games, your graduation, from a distance." Jake's phone buzzed. "Tyler." He ignored it. "Distance." Jake spat. "I grew up thinking I was nothing because of you." Marcus flinched. Then quietly, "I can't change the past, but I can help now, if you'll let me." Jake was about to snap back when his phone rang again. This time, he answered. Tyler's voice was raw with panic. "Jake, it's Dad. He's in the hospital." The hospital waiting room smelled like antiseptic and stale coffee. Jake hadn't stepped inside a hospital since the night his grandmother died, the last time the Morgans had all been together. Now, Tyler sat slumped in a plastic chair, his hands shaking. "He asked for you," Tyler muttered, not meeting Jake's eyes. Jake's laugh was hollow, after 4 years of silence. "Bullshit." Tyler's head snapped up. "You think this is easy for me? Dad kept your secret too." Jake froze. "What?" A doctor interrupted before Tyler could respond. "Morgan is stable. You can see him now, but briefly." Richard Morgan looked smaller in the hospital bed, his skin ashen against the white sheets. His eyes flickered open when Jake entered. "I never hated you," Richard rasped. "I hated her." Jake's fists clenched. "You threw me away like trash." Richard coughed, wincing. The DNA test was wrong. The words hit like a gut punch. "What?" Tyler stepped forward, voice breaking. "Dad retested last year. You are his son." But by then he'd already what? Jake demanded. Richard's shame was palpable. "Signed over my parental rights." To him, Jake followed his gaze to the doorway, where Marcus stood, holding a faded legal document. "Your mother and I," Marcus said quietly, "we made a deal. Richard couldn't take it back after everything." The monitor beeped wildly as Jake backed away. His whole life, a lie stacked on lies. Tyler grabbed his arm. "We're still your family." Jake yanked free. "No, you don't get to choose when you're family." He walked out past Marcus, past the sobbing nurse, into the parking lot where his beat. Up Hondan waited. The keys shook in his hand. Then a text vibrated. Unknown number. I have the full story. Meet me at our old spot. Emily. Jake stared at the screen. The one person who'd never betrayed him. He started the car. Final choice. Does Jake go to Emily and reopen old wounds? Does he drive west and never look back? Or does he return to Marcus, the father who watched from the shadows? The ending is yours to imagine, but the scars, those will always remain.